show, everybody. The Learning to Fly podcast. I'm your host, Ryan, and today you're just gonna get me today. But before we get started, I wanted to say welcome to the show. This is a growing podcast, so if you guys get anything out of this, please share it with everybody, your friends, whoever's like-minded like you. We don't run ads. I feel like I'm copying Andy Frisella's opening, which I kind of am a little bit. But we don't have ads, so we don't intend to do that. We're not that big. And like I said, this show's sponsored by Basham Construction. So any feedback you guys have, any comments, anybody that wants to potentially be on the show, hit us up. I'm not hard to find. So my number's everywhere, my email's everywhere, and just hit us up in the comments as well. So anyway, today is a big day. It's a big week after the big election. This show really is not a political podcast. It's really personal development and leadership and just growth. Getting better is why we started this thing. That's why we call it Learning to Fly. Like I said in the intro, I feel like a lot of us entrepreneurs are really hitting the ground running so fast that I feel like we are about to take flight. So again, this is not an aviation podcast. I'll probably repeat myself at least a dozen more times on that. We do not know how to fly planes. I don't want to know how to fly a plane. I've got several customers that know how to fly planes, so we'll rely on those folks. But I really wanted to hop on here today and just give you a little backstory as to why I do what I do. And I feel like today or this week, quite frankly, it hit me square between the eyes. It's the perfect time to talk about it. Roughly 4 years ago, I decided to make a change in just how I did everything. I was very complacent. Got really tired of the 9 to 5, the paycheck to paycheck life. Just going through the motions, if I'm being honest, and I got real tired of it. Circumstances happen. Jobs change. Your life changes. Some people, they get, their marriages change, their jobs change, whatever. But for me, it was really a culmination of several things. Losing my parents was a big component of it. Working for, friends was a big component of it. Just a lot of things, as you become middle-aged, which is probably what I'm considered now. You just kind of come full circle and you figure out what you want to do with your life. And so I decided 4 years ago, has nothing to do with elections, but, every election term is 4 years. I decided to make a change, and I decided to cut out the negative shit in my life, whether that be people, habits, whatever it is, and just get it together. Be a leader of the family, be a leader of my friend group, and everything I coached, whatever I did, I just wanted to be a leader and help people level up. So that's really the biggest thing that I wanted to accomplish in the next 4 years. I do kind of set my goals in terms of chunks of years because I think it takes time. But looking back from 4 years to now, it's pretty incredible, the change. It's not really, most people will go through like a physical change. I didn't. I'm still chubby. But as my son will tell you, under all the blubber, there's a lot of muscle and grit. So be careful. I like to eat a lot too, though. So that's that. But I think it's just a good time to talk about it because we are in a culture shift right now. The last 4 years, we just had a guy on last week or 2 weeks ago that was running for a political position, school board, very like-minded kind of a guy. But I think now is the time to address this. We've been living under an umbrella of scrutiny, an umbrella of just shit, if I'm being honest. A lot of things you can't say, a lot of things you can't do because you might offend people. Stuff like that has just really weighed on me in the last 4 years. Probably a little bit longer, if I'm being honest. You can't be yourself. You got to watch what you say, watch what you do. Well, in my opinion, all that's out the window now. And it really has nothing to do with who's going to be in office or who is in office. I think that what happened, several days ago was really eye-opening just to see the American people, vote, speak their mind, and just say enough's enough, right? Again, doesn't matter really who's in, but it's really more the American way that really got exposed. And I think that is something we need to talk about. A lot of people say, hey, my guy got in or my guy didn't get in or whatever. But even the guys that say, hey, my guy got in, it doesn't mean we could just sit down and lay down and the job's over. I think a lot of us, when I say a lot of people feel that way. And that is quite frankly the opposite of what needs to be happening right now. Right now is probably the most critical time for you as an individual to level up. It doesn't mean that, say Trump's in the office, all my problems are solved. It's not his problem or his job to solve your problems. It really kind of boils down to personal excellence. And that's really one thing I want to talk about today. I listen to a lot of podcasts that inspired me to do this podcast. And personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion. It really is. And that is not my own words. It's Andy Frisella's words. I mean, this is his movement, the Big Buffalo. So you'll see a lot of that floating around, after, from here on, really. And all that is people wanting to level up. By doing that, you have to make several decisions. You have to cut things out of your life. That could be diet, that could be people, that could be habits, that could be whatever it is that's dragging you down. You have to make that decision to level up on your own. Now, I've made the decision to do it, and I've brought people with me, and I've seen other people do it, and they're doing the same thing. Could you imagine if we all did that, if we all leveled up, if we all were like-minded and wanted better for not only ourselves, but our families and our friends and the people around us? We hold each other accountable. That's really what we need to get back to. It's really not who's in office. It's not who, the guy I voted for didn't get in. That's loser mentality. It's what can I do to make everybody around me better and to make myself better. So I've been preaching to my kids a lot about, like self-esteem. Self-esteem is a big thing, especially for young people. But quite frankly, it's for everybody. About a year and a half ago, I did a deep dive on that because I wanted to figure it out. My wife says, hey, your self-esteem's a little low. And I said, I don't even know what you're talking about. She's like, well, you got to figure it out because I could tell it's not right. You're not right. So I took about 6 months to figure that out on my own. And I've come down to this. Basically, self-esteem is a group of about 6 other selves. So like self-worth, self-confidence, self-respect, self-awareness, self-belief, and self-control, right? A lot of it's self-destruct when things don't go right. And what I'm trying to help get people to think past that is work on each one individually. Doesn't mean that you're going to get this in a week. You may not get it in a month or a year, but if you figure this out, you can really overcome just about anything. So we'll start with like self-worth. Self-worth is really when I look at myself in the mirror, what do I think I'm worth? It doesn't mean money, but it does mean, well, I've got all these talents. Your talents could be, you'd have to list out your own. I'm funny. I'm on time. I'm a hard worker, I'm caring, like list out your talents. All those tie back to your self-worth. And I'm getting somewhere, so just hold on with me for a minute. Your self-confidence is a whole different animal. Self-confidence is really, it ties in with self-belief a little bit, but it's that confidence knowing, hey, I know I can do this. For example, if you're at the gym and you see 5 other dudes, and you're like, you should have the confidence to say, hey, I can hang with all 5 of these guys. Doesn't mean I'm going to be better, but I have that confidence knowing, hey, I believe in myself. I know what I'm capable of, and I know where I've been, and I know where I'm going. And that's part of that self-confidence piece. The next one is self-respect. Self-respect is probably one of the biggest misunderstood things that people actually work at. And that self-respect could be, hey, especially for me, hey, fat boy, no more oatmeal cream pies tonight. That's self-respect. I'm respecting that I'm working hard to try to lose weight, or I'm working hard to try to grow a business, or I'm working hard to whatever the goal is. I respect myself enough to say, hey, I've got to self-regulate a little bit. That's self-respect. There's a million other things you could talk about, but self-respect is a big, big component of this as well. Another one that ties to that is self-awareness, being aware of your surroundings. Say if you're an addict of some sort, you wouldn't want to put yourself in a position where the temptation would be too great to, go backwards. That's called self-awareness. You got to be aware of your surroundings, aware of your weaknesses, and aware of your strengths, because they go both ways. Self-belief ties back to that self-confidence piece, but it's really believing you can do it. So I share with my son a lot. Like, he plays football, he's wrestling, he's doing some things that he's not done a lot of, and he gets a little discouraged. So I said, man, you got to believe in yourself. You got to walk into a room and just believe, I can get this job done, or I can do whatever it takes to get the job done. And you got to believe in yourself. And a lot of people struggle with that because they don't believe in themselves. They don't understand what they can do, where they've been, and where they're going. So those things they all tie together. The self-control part is the last one, and that's where a lot of us struggle. I'd say every one of us struggles with self-control in terms of, some people may have a shopping issue, some people may have a overeating issue, some people may have a drink, whatever it is, you got to control yourself. That's probably the hardest thing to do, and that's where accountability partners and best friends and people that really have your back will help keep that one in check for you without you even wanting it to happen. So, that being said, I think that's where this culture shift's going. We live in a world full of snowflakes, softness, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer on some of that stuff, but we need some real men to step up. And it's not a macho thing, but it's more of an accountability thing. There's too many just soft people out there, and I think now is the time we can finally stand up and say enough's enough. But we got to own our own shit. That's what I'm trying to get at. This isn't you against the world. This isn't me against the world. It's really how can we all get better? Because quite frankly, I mean, I look back to like my grandparents' age and even beyond. I mean, they fought wars. There were wars that were fought. People lost lives. People never got to meet loved ones that fought for this country. And I don't know that many of us listening to this are going to go do that because, A, we're not old enough, or we're too old. Maybe we're out of shape. We wouldn't be making the military anyway. The articles I read, most of us probably wouldn't. I think it's our duty to level up. I think it's our duty to be great leaders, great examples to our young kids. Hell, even to some of the guys that are your age and maybe even older. I think it's our duty to do that. And it's really a thank you back to the people that's gotten you where you are today. I promised myself if I ever made it to where I wanted to be, that I would give back. I would give back. I would help people. I would do whatever it took to thank the people that got me over the hump, so to speak. And there's so many. Some of them have passed away, and I won't be able to tell them thank you. But the ones that are still with us, this is kind of a thank you. Every day that I do what I do is a way of giving back. And I want to do that. I want to show my kids how to do that. And I also want to do it in a way that's kind of invisible. I don't want credit for it. I don't want to be seen, and I don't want anything like that, because today's society, they twist it into something it's not, and I don't want that. It's irritating when that happens. But so really, I mean, this isn't a knock on anybody specifically, but it's just I think we've got a lot of softness out there, and it's time for us to man up, and it's time for us to be good, high quality leaders. I've sat through, basically 2 months of campaigning. I've seen it at the local level. I've seen it at the high level. I've seen it everywhere. And I know you all have too. And it's kind of the same thing. You got a handful of guys that are probably more excited they see their name on a stupid yard sign. And you got a handful of guys that would rather sit there and thank people for, hey, thanks for dressing me or thanks for doing it. We need men. We need men that aren't afraid to talk about things that are actually hard to talk about. I get real irritated when we just skate through things that aren't even, quite frankly, they're not even that deep. The real hard work never is seen. It's never talked about. People don't see it. And that's where we are today as leaders. We got to go out there and lead like men. And guess what? We don't need to put it all on social media. Just go out and do it. It's that simple. Like I said, it's taken 4 years to get where I'm at. I pretty much shut a lot of people out. I shut a lot of influences out. And I buckled down for 4 years. And 4 years ago, it looks a whole lot different than it does today. It just looks a whole lot different. And I'll leave it at that. What I want to encourage people is to really make a goal, a big goal. Dream as big as you possibly can. I tell my kids this too. Dream as big as you possibly can and go do it. It literally is that simple. I would encourage you to listen to some other podcasts other than this. Real AF is probably the best one you can listen to on the planet. It really is. It's not for everybody. If you can't handle a cuss word or get talked to like you're out on the football field, don't listen to it. Mine's probably not that bad, but mine's not for everybody either. What I really want is for people to level up and to win, and then teach your kids how to do that. I mean, that's the best thing you can do for any election. It's the best thing you can do for any issue, controversy in the world, is be better. Once you build that skill set, that mindset, that belief, that self-belief in yourself, there is nothing you can't do. I mean, there's nothing you can't do. Is it going to be easy? No, it'll be one of the hardest things you ever do. It'll be one of the biggest, scariest things you've ever done. But I tell you one thing, it's the most rewarding thing you could ever do. My son, I talk about Bo Ryan quite a bit. That kid has taken it to a different level, and he's a freshman in high school. Are we 5-star stud athletes? No, we're not. Do we want to be? Not really. But what I do know about that kid, because he's changed in 12 months. He's taken the plunge. He's taken this stuff serious. And what I see out of him are huge, huge, huge gains. These gains are not how big are my arms. These gains aren't how many touchdowns did I score. These gains are this. They look like this. Hey, Dad, I got a couple buddies that don't have rides to get home after, like, say, football practice or wrestling. Would we be able to take them home so that they can play? Hell yes, we can, son. Hell yes. That is what I'm looking for. That doesn't seem big to most people. Oh, cool. Your son's getting your kid's buddy a ride or whatever back from practice. What that is Bo is looking out for other people. He's starting to think outside of his own shell. He's starting to think of others. That's what I'm looking for. Because to me, that's giving back, and that's loving people, and that's helping people. And one of these days, he's going to need it. So I'm hoping those people will come and help him at some point, right? That's a very generic, small thing, but there's a ton of them that these kids are doing because they get it. They just get it. And once they adopt that and they stick to that plan, they are going to be light years ahead of us by the time they're 40. So if you can follow what I'm trying to say, is if we can lift these kids up to be better leaders, you don't have to be 45 years old to be a leader. You can be a leader at 12 years old. But you always have to do it with a kind heart. You got to do it with purpose. And you got to do it without credit. Like, I hate these people that, like, I used to do the 12 Trees of Christmas for a radio show. I still do it, but you'll never know I do it. Well, I guess you're hearing it on this podcast. But the point I'm trying to make is I want to be invisible. Giving should be done without notice, without credit, without any of that stuff. So that's where we're trying to go with that. But I do appreciate, the kids coming and talking to us, because sometimes, they don't know what to say or do. They get made fun of for being nice. They get made fun of for everything. But I just say, hey, stick to your own core values. Everybody should have their own core values, the things they believe in and the things that they want to do. So they're doing that. I'm proud as hell of them for doing that, but it's still not easy. It's not, this stuff doesn't get solved in a day. It's maybe not even in a lifetime, but we all have to do our part. We all have to stick to the plan. We all have to level up. I really feel like that's where we need to go from here. Our work actually starts now. Just because we have a new president and a new whole system coming in does not mean we get the job is done. The job actually starts now, and it starts with all of us. If you look at America versus other countries, we look a whole lot not as good as most. So a lot of this stuff falls on us, and I really feel like it starts at this level, which is us, the American people. So outside of that, I'm not sure what else I want to say about it, but I just think we all need to do better and make personal excellence and just being a better leader and a better citizen, a better father, husband, friend, uncle, aunt, whatever, mom, whatever you are, just be better and help other people to level up and to be better. So that's all I got for right now. Hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you think. If you guys have anything you want to add to that, I'd love to hear your comments. Have a great day.